China's Global Times trolls U.S., says, U.S. should stand with Minnesota violent protesters as it did with HK rioters.
Here's a summary of the article.
In a May 29 editorial written by the Global Times editor, Hu Zijin, the headline of his polemic was a normative statement to poke the U.S. in the eye. It read, U.S. should stand with Minnesota violent protesters as it did with HK rioters. Since U.S. politicians are so fond and agreeable with the violent Hong Kong protesters, they should also stand with the violence perpetrated by protesters in Minnesota and other cities now. Hu highlighted he tweeted at Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Friday, calling on him to do just that and stand with the violent protesters back in the U.S. Hu tweeted, Secretary Pompeo, please stand with the angry people of Minneapolis, just like you did with the people of Hong Kong. The Global Times piece also pointed to U.S. President Donald Trump's intolerance of violence happening in Minneapolis, a dig at American hypocrisy. The Global Times piece clearly and purposely missed the point of the unrest currently engulfing major cities in the U.S. It was the glaring injustice of a black man dying as a result of police brutality that sparked the greater violence in Minneapolis and elsewhere. The death of George Floyd, from another perspective, reveals the desperate inequality rampant in the U.S. You can read the full Global Times piece here.
This post received a score of 65,000, with an upvote ratio of 84%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Watching the Chinese and American governments yell at each other would be hilarious if it didn't threaten the future of humanity.
This is part of the problem. We have forgotten what role the government should be playing. They are being paid big money to represent us and provide services through our tax money. The gap between people and its governments has gone too far.
I don't know that people have forgotten as much as they've been systemically oppressed or appeased depending on who they happen to be within society. People are constantly complaining and fighting for change even before this, but it's all ineffectual as worldwide governments look to rob people of their power slowly and convince many that it's in their best interest as their lives get worse. If anything, governments are being shown that if they take all power away from their people will exercise the only power that they have left.
The difference this time around, nobody has to rush to a job or any responsibilities. We're all on stay-at-home orders, so if change is going to come, it's going to be now or never. 40 million of our fellow citizens are out of work. Our government representatives can't even have a discussion without bickering, while we are collectively suffering together. Maybe it's time we all paid attention more to our representatives and vote in the change we want.
This is happening because voting hasn't worked. They made sure of it. Heads I win, tails you lose. Those who make peaceful resolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. JFK.
People will be hating, but America got Trump, and it does kinda represents Americans as they got full of themselves in the past years.
People will say this is Trump's America to handwave responsibility, but Trump is merely a symptom of problems we've had forever.
That's downplaying the trolling. They are calling it a beautiful sight as a response to Pelosi.
If you read the whole thread of the Weibo posts, a lot of people are upset that an official account would make such an inappropriate schadenfreude comment to taunt the U.S. when U.S. cities are suffering from violence. Then you have few people replying hate the U.S. government, not its people. The dynamic of the whole thread is just like Reddit, with its name-calling, sarcastic comments, and genuine ill-informed people expressing their concerns.
Greater than the dynamic of the whole thread is just like Reddit. Wait, are you trying to say Chinese people are people with varying views and opinions on a whole range of issues, kinda like real human beings? That sounds like propaganda to me.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to Speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.